All right, so it is Saturday, the day after Christmas. Hope everyone had a great holiday, regardless of what you celebrate out there. Now, for me personally, I typically train on Fridays, and because all of the festivities, I was unable to train, so it's Saturday, so it means I got to get my work in. It also means that Beyonce is home, and I don't want to annoy her with my overly loud Justin Bieber or Selena Gomez music. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. So I got the Bluetooth headphones on today and just get some work done, although I will be doing some heavy block pull, so I'm sure that's going to fuck some shit up. But one of the things I want to show you guys is these socks that I'm rocking today. Take a look at these little bad boys. These are official Miami Dolphin socks. I do not like the Miami Dolphins by any means. And they got these interesting padding around the ankles or whatever. But the cool thing about these is these are somewhat orange, and they are somewhat like this blood orange, fire orange. Even though a lot of people say this is more red than orange, I still consider these orange. So it gives me a reason to wear my Addy Powers. And you know you have some severe meathead problems when you really coordinate the Olympic lifting shoes you wear based around your sock choices. You'd think that you'd base it around the shoes, the footwear, the most optimal piece of equipment. Not me, my friends, because I am not doing it right. So let's go ahead and get to the training. And actually, I do hear some Justin Bieber on these headphones. I do need to get a new radio station as well. Google Music, Google Play, you are letting me down. Let's get to it. All right, so we're watching the last training day of week 9 on my current 20-week training cycle, starting off with high bar back squats, 5 sets of 4, 420 pounds. Last set being an AMRAP, and I've already talked about enough of how the volume and the frequency is really tough, blah, blah, blah. Beating a dead horse, I know, but one of the things that I've also really failed to mention here is the fact that that's really started to take a toll on my body in a way. My abductors on this particular day were real sore. It was really tough to squat, and I haven't addressed that yet in my mobility work. So I should probably do that going forward, just because abductors here for me are really important. I don't really take a real wide stance, so what I have to do is really try to flare my knees out, and if my abductors are tight, it doesn't allow me to do that. So definitely need to take a look at this in my mobility routine. Now, even though that was really tough, I still managed to get through it, thankfully, and brought us on to close grip bench press, which has been going surprisingly well. By surprisingly well, I mean fucking awesome, only because 300 pounds for me normally is really tough, let alone doing 6 sets of 4 with a weaker alternative grip, in this case close grip instead of my competition style bench press, and getting a couple extra reps on the AMRAP is just really feeling well. So really happy with how these are moving, looking forward to switching back to competition and seeing what I'm able of pressing then. So the last main movement of the day before going to assistance work was block pulls, 510 pounds, 4 sets of 4, again with an AMRAP. And usually I'll still do the sumo as I've been pulling the rest of the weeks previously. However, when my lower back is really sore, I'll go to conventional just because I feel stronger in this position. So I decided to do that on this particular day, and things moved fairly well. And by this point, if Amanda wasn't awake, she was awake now, so it kind of defeats the purpose of wearing these Bluetooth headphones, because this gets pretty freaking loud. But made it through the day, thankfully. Body definitely felt it after, so let's go ahead and see what I had to do to recover. All right, so just finished training. It's about 3:40 in the afternoon. I haven't really had much to eat all day besides a half of a chicken Caesar wrap, which was like 4 or 5 days old, but still delicious. And I had chocolate cake for breakfast. So I've been up since probably 6, 3:40 now, just got done training, and I am real hungry. So what I'm gonna eat is some of these leftovers from yesterday. So yesterday again was Christmas. We had people over. We made some ribeyes. I think we ended up making like 4 or 5 pounds of ribeyes and some béarnaise sauce. We also made some salmon with brown sugar and soy sauce. We made some chicken with a similar marinade on it as well. Not pictured here because that's already a lot of meat. And also having a twice baked potato with béarnaise sauce on it, and catching up on Nick Bear, which is a great YouTuber, so you should check him out. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat me some of this. There's no vegetables on it because, let's be honest, we're freaks and we don't need no vegetables. All right, so season 2 of the meat prep is back, and let's be honest, I only really revived this series so you guys could hear that sweet, sweet reggae music. Or at least that's what I like to tell myself, but for me, team reggae all day, every day. Yeah, man! Terrible Jamaican accent. Probably shouldn't have done that. Wasn't planning on it. Learned my lesson. But in all seriousness, the reason I wanted to revive this series is just because I found it a great way to hold myself accountable. Plus, I had a lot of fun doing it last year. For those of you that didn't watch the series last year, what I did is I literally recorded every single training session, my peaking cycle, and finally culminating in a powerlifting meet, which was an RPS meet, which then actually, interestingly enough, led me to do a USAPL meet about a month or so later. So I wanted to revive this series because, again, accountability-wise, when you have a few people watch your videos, which for me these days isn't many, but still a few, watch my videos, it helps hold me accountable, and my own personal experiences tell me this also leads to a lot of people telling you that you squat high, you're bald, and you're ugly, and probably some other things, but we'll get to those as the series goes on. But just getting out there in a public forum and knowing that people are watching you really makes me motivated to make sure that I get my training in, number one, and that I try to perform my best, which is also really important on my current training program. As you guys know, it includes a lot of AMRAP sets, so really trying to push myself and keep myself honest on them has been helpful. I also meant it's a lot of fun. My powerlifting meets last year when I did this series actually went really well, and I'm a little bit surprised by that. Only because when I go back to the beginning of the series and watch them, I do a lot of complaining, not really thinking I'm making the best progress, not thinking I'm as strong as I should be, not hitting all the lifts I want to. So it's interesting to see that progression from where I was to where I ended up, and I'm hoping that's the case now. Now, that being said, I'm really enjoying my training. I've been showing you guys some clips here and there, but speaking of accountability, besides just the lifting aspect, accountability in making YouTube videos, this past year has been really, really busy for me, both from a work standpoint and a social standpoint, getting married, buying a house, doing all sorts of big grown-up things, which I'm not really used to. I've kind of gotten a little bit away from making consistent YouTube videos, so I think that a weekly series will really help me do that. So what I'd like to do with this new meet prep is once a week, again, share my training overall, my highlights, any feels that I'm going through, as well as kind of have a focused message. Now, this particular video today, the first intro, the message is going to be all over the place because this is just an intro. But next week, what I'll do is more talking about a deload because that's what my training will be for this week coming up. Just share some feels and thoughts on deloads, why they're so important, and some things to maybe help you get through yours or how to implement them in your own training so you can see some success. And as I'm talking, I'd like to right now throw some clips on this video just of the training I've been doing up to this point, again, about halfway through. I'm actually 15 weeks out for that first meet. I have 10 weeks left in my training cycle, at which point I'll do somewhat of a peak, so like a 4-week peak, then a week deload before actually competing. I'd like to just show you some of what I've been doing, and I've been doing that over the past couple of months, but again, nothing consistent. You guys should know that I'm training 3 times per week, squatting 3 times per week, benching 3 times per week, deadlifting twice a week, doing tons of volume, and making some gains. But it has been beating me up pretty good because when you're only training 3 times per week and you're doing a lot of volume, my training sessions are going on average about 3 hours per. So there's one day out of the week where I don't have to deadlift, and in that case, it probably takes only 2 hours to get through, but that's a lot of time and ain't nobody got time for that. So there might be some changes in terms of my frequency coming up. Again, we can save that for another video and talk about training frequency, what's most optimal, and also just based off of personal preference. So there's a lot of cool things that I hope to do with this series going forward. One of the things I'm really looking forward to after this deload week, however, I must say, is going back to my competition style lifts, because these last 10 weeks I've only been high bar squatting. I've only been pulling sumo deadlifts for the most part. I have been doing some conventional block pulls here and there depending on how my lower back feels after all those squats. And I've been doing a lot of close grip benching, Spoto bench presses, wide grip bench presses, but not a lot of competition style. So I finally get to go back to that, and I'm really excited because number one, obviously weak point training isn't fun because you're weak and not good at it, but I've actually been making a lot of progress on those lifts lately. So I'm hoping that translates well to my other lifts going forward. Now again, I don't want to get this particular video too long, too in-depth, because I'm just going to be showing you some clips that you might have seen already on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, One Set, Tinder. Can you put clips on Tinder? I don't know. I'm too old, and obviously I said I'm married already, so I'm not on Tinder. Maybe not. Snapchat, I don't know. I'm trying to get into some of these things. I'm just an old man trying to learn the new tricks of the day. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this series. I'll be creating a playlist for these, but if you haven't seen the other version of it from last year, I'll link that playlist in the description box below. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay big.